Seville lies on the banks of the Guadalquivir and is one of the largest historical centres in Europe. It has the minaret of La Giralda, the cathedral, one of the largest in Christendom, and the Alcazar Palace. Part of its treasure includes Casa de Pilatos, Torre del Oro, the Town Hall, Archive of the Indies, the Fine Arts Museum, plus convents, parish churches and palaces. Seville is more than 2,000 years old. The passage of the various people instrumental in its growth has left the city with a distinct personality and a large and well-preserved historical centre. The Cathedral of Seville is a world wonder. It's the largest cathedral in Spain and the third largest by square footage in the entire world. If one made comparisons solely by the interior air volume, this cathedral might be the largest in the world. The main facade of the cathedral, in Avenida de la Constitución, has 3 doors: the main door, the baptistry, and the birth. The cathedral's minaret was the culmination of Almohad architecture and served as a model for those at their imperial capitals of Rabat and Marrakesh. It was used by the Moors both for calling the faithful to prayer, the traditional function of a minaret, and as an observatory, and was so venerated that they wanted to destroy it before the Christian conquest of the city. The Giralda is one of the most magnificent buildings in Seville and dominates the skyline. Most impressive of all is the tower's inner construction, a series of 35 gently inclining ramps, wide enough to allow the passage of 2 mounted guards. The original harmony has been somewhat spoiled by the Renaissance addition of balconies, and to a greater extent by the 4 diminishing stories of the belfry, added in the mid-16th century, following the demolition by an earthquake of the original copper sphere. All around the building are the well-known gradas, or cathedral steps, which were built in 1392. They soon became frequently used as a forum for all kinds of commercial transactions, and on rainy or excessively hot days, many continued their business inside the cathedral, a tendency the chapter sought to counter by installing chains all around the building. The chains also marked the limits of the sanctuary that existed outside as well as inside the cathedral, a right that continued to exist until fairly recently. Before entering the cathedral, a walk around the surrounding streets will give an idea of the size of the site, for we are before the largest in Spain and one of the biggest in the world, 130 meters in length and 76 in width, with the highest point of the crossing reaching 56 meters. The greater part of the cathedral was constructed between 1420 and 1506 and features Gothic, Neo-Gothic and Renaissance elements. The dome, which collapsed in 1511, was rebuilt in 1519 and was completely restored once more after the 1888 earthquake. On the south side is the door of San Cristobal, completed in the 19th century, whilst the rear front features on either side of the Gothic apse the doors of Las Campanillas and Los Palos, the latter adjoining the Giralda. The Puerta del Perdón leads into the Patio de los Naranjos, formerly the San or Patio of Ablutions of the Great Mosque. The Archbishop's Palace has a lovely front, created by Lorenzo Fernandez in the 18th century. With its deep colours and the graceful rhythms of its elements, this is a fine exponent of the Sevillian facade at the pinnacle of Baroque splendour in the city. The Archive of the Indies leads us to Spanish Renaissance art. It's one of the most important documentation centres in existence, relating to the conquest of America. The General Archive of the Indies was founded in 1785 by King Charles III to centralise extensive and invaluable documentation relating to the New World, previously distributed amongst various different institutions. It now houses one of the most important libraries in the world. In 1929, Seville hosted the Spanish-American exhibition. A number of buildings were built for the exhibition in the Maria Luisa Park. On the edge of the park, the current Plaza de España was built, which at the time showcased Spain's industry and technology exhibits. Plaza de España consists of a 200-metre diameter semicircle, culminating in two high stylized towers at either end. An artificial canal flows in the interior, crossed by little bridges with a Venetian air and decorated with tiles. On the benches lined around the semicircle are represented all the Spanish provinces in alphabetical order. Above, a series of medallions depict personalities linked to the history of Spain since the early days. The materials used are brick decorated with fine ceramics. The square, which was designed by Aníbal González, has now become an outstanding symbol of the city of Seville. Spaniards and tourists alike come out to the plaza, which was recently restored to its former glory in a grand refurbishment, to potter about in the little boats hired out on its tiny strip of canal, or to hide from the sun and crowds amid the ornamental pools and walkways of the Parc de Maria Luisa. Towards the end of the park, the grandest mansions from the fair have been adapted as museums. The furthest now houses the city's Museo Arqueológico and contains the most important archaeology collection in Andalusia. Opposite, the fabulous-looking Popular Arts Museum has interesting displays relating to traditional arts and crafts and the April Feria. The Reales Alcazares, royal fortresses, are built on top of an Arab citadel from the 9th century. Yet we owe the Mudahar decoration to Pedro I the Cruel in the 14th century. The walls enclose numerous rooms, lavish halls and intimate courtyards. Its spacious gardens, with Arabic and Renaissance elements, frame the whole complex. The palace is one of the best remaining examples of Mudahar architecture. We enter the Alcazares through the Lion Gate, or Puerta del León, opened in the Almohad walls from Plaza del Triunfo. The Alcazar is divided into several parts. The most impressive section is the Patio de las Doncellas, or Courtyard of the Maidens. The ornate, Moorish-inspired rooms and decoration contain many fine examples of complex tile and plasterwork, and are complemented by the gardens, laid out with terraces, fountains and pavilions. Much of the fine work on the walls is reminiscent of the Alhambra, but the colours have survived better over time, and it's easier to imagine how it must originally have been. There are a few patios with delicate stucco work features and scalloped arches, set off by a shady garden with water channels. It's a perfect synthesis of differing cultural influences. The Reales Alcazares contain many fine examples of azulejos, glazed tiles, an art at which the Andalusians are past masters. The Moors, who introduced the technique of making glazed tiles here, called it az-zulaj, meaning the little brick, and it's from this term that the Spanish word derives. The Reales Alcazaras are known in the plural because the site is made up of a number of buildings, from the original Moorish Alcazar Palace to later extensions in the form of courtyards and palaces carried out by different monarchs. Of the Alcazar, built by the Almohads in the 12th century, all that remains is part of the walls and two courtyards, the Patio del Yeso and the Patio de la Monteria. The actual structure of the Real Alcazaras corresponds largely to the alterations carried out by King Peter I, who used many elements from the original construction. The gardens, adorned with fountains and pavilions, provide shelter from the hustle and bustle of Seville. There are few gardens in the Real Alcazar. The English gardens are modelled on those of the British Isles from the 18th century. The door to the Alcoba is of Islamic origin. The park was built in 1909, and the main gardener of the Real Casa de Campo, Juan Gras, was put in charge of planting the flowers. However, there are doubts as to whether his radical style fits in with the surroundings. The design of the Garden of the Poets is similar to that of the Forestier, thanks to the influence of Joaquin Romero Murube. Its most emblematic feature is the two ponds that were inspired by the Arabs and Romans. The garden of Vega Inclán consists of 20 mostly square flower beds that are separated by paths and fountains. These gardens took their inspiration from Islamic culture and the Renaissance. The Garden of the Reservoir already existed at the time of Charles V. The gardens are a wonderful attraction to any visit. Variously Moorish, Mudéjar and Renaissance in design, they comprise an excellent exponent of an art of which the Andalusians are past masters. Over the centuries, the artistic beauty of the original gardens was further embellished by the addition of pavilions, fountains, statues and even a maze. Outstanding elements include the great pool with the statue of Mercury, the Garden of the Dance, the adjoining baths of Maria de Padilla, the Prince's Gardens and the charming Charles V Pavilion, which features one of the most splendid coffered ceilings in the entire Alcazar. In a refurbished 13th century Gothic structure built by Alfonso X the Wise, this palace has a rather inharmonious Renaissance styling. At the intersections of the tiled walks stand fountains with round seats about them, and little spurts of water spring up from unseen pipes to sprinkle the unwary. The separate beds are laid out in geometrical figures and always bordered. A novelty, which was probably unfamiliar to the Arabs, the labyrinth, was introduced by Charles. It was a very large one and put on the lowest terrace so that it could be seen from above. In the second half of the 16th century, the taste for the Baroque had introduced all sorts of unusual novelties. If you enjoy going out at night, Seville is the perfect place to be. It's said about the people in Seville that they spend more time in the streets and the local bars than in their homes. Seville is also full of different types of establishments, which make it possible for everybody to find something they like. The city of Seville contains a heritage of monuments of the first order. Its many monuments and museums, as well as the entire urban structure of the old town, make it a city to be discovered at leisure.